Hi, this is Rick Frederick reviewing the case of Finger v. Nevada, a Supreme Court case in Nevada State Supreme Court. Finger is an individual with a long history of mental disorder who killed his mother, by all accounts. Initially, Finger said that somebody else had killed his mother. Later on, he acknowledged that he had killed her, but stated that he had done so for a reason that was delusional. He had a long history of mental disorder, including a diagnosis of schizophrenia, so forth. Had a history of violence, been hospitalized many times. He was denied the opportunity to plead insanity because the Nevada legislature had abolished the affirmative defense of insanity, a move conducted by several other states, Idaho, Kansas, Montana, maybe Utah. I'm not sure on the fourth state. So there wasn't any issue to be resolved at trial. He pleaded guilty but mentally ill under the current statute, and then he appealed, saying that he should have been afforded the opportunity to argue insanity. Now, Idaho is a case without an insanity defense, has what's called Mens Rea defense, and there was a case, Delling v. Idaho, that was appealed to the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court denied a hearing. They denied certiorari or cert. They denied cert. And some of the justices disagreed with that decision to not hear the case. And in forming his dissent, Justice Breyer wrote this, which I think will be helpful to make clear what the issue is here. Idaho law would distinguish the following cases. The defendant, due to insanity, kills a victim that he thinks is a wolf. He shoots the victim who is a human, but he believes is a wolf. That's case 2. The second case, the defendant, due to insanity, believes that a wolf has ordered him to kill a human, the wolf being some sort of supernatural figure. So case 1, the defendant does not know he has killed a human being, and his insanity negates a mental element necessary to commit the crime. That's mens rea. In case 2, the defendant has intentionally killed. He has intent to kill a human being. And so he possesses the necessary mens rea. Now, in both cases, the defendant is unable, due to insanity, to appreciate the true quality of his act, and therefore unable to perceive that it's wrong. But Idaho doesn't care about that. Idaho doesn't care anything about appreciation, knowledge of right or wrong, only intent. So if you're squeezing lemon, squeezing somebody's throat thinking you're squeezing a lemon to make lemonade, that's exculpating because you don't know what you're doing. So it's a very, very strict interpretation of a cognitive prong. So that's what was being appealed in Delling v. Idaho, and that's the issue that's being raised in the state Supreme Court of Nevada. So the question before the state Supreme Court in Nevada was, did Nevada's abolishment of the insanity defense violate the 8th and 14th Amendments of the U.S. Constitution? And the Supreme Court in Nevada said, yes, the insanity abolishing the insanity defense is a violation of due process clause of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Okay, so if you want to read a good history of the insanity defense, this is a good case to review it. There are plenty of cases like this in standard case law for criminal responsibility, very thorough reviews, back to Arnold, back to McNaughton, and so forth. So under the Mens Rea Model, rather than excusing an offense, mental impairment can preclude a person from forming the requisite criminal intent. In other words, prosecution has to show criminal intent. And under the Mens Rea Model, you say, I didn't have criminal intent because I didn't know what I was doing. So Finger contended that Nevada law was unconstitutional because it permitted the conviction of individuals who could not form the necessary criminal intent, because it should include the concept of wrongfulness, but it doesn't. And the Nevada Supreme Court agreed with this argument, and then essentially saying that insanity is an extension of the concept of mens rea, which is a fundamental aspect, and it is. Mens rea is fundamental to criminal law. The fundamental principle of insanity has been recognized for centuries in various forms. And if you go back to Rex v. Arnold, 1724 case, the idea of insanity predates that. I mean, you can go all the way back to the Bible to find an understanding of intent as a necessary element that can be impaired by some disorder. So the Nevada Supreme Court said, look, the legislature has created a law that has the effect of eliminating the concept of wrongfulness from all crimes. And then they embraced the insanity defense as a well-established and fundamental principle protected by the Due Process Clause. Although states have considerable latitude regarding procedural issues, Leland v. Oregon is a great example of that. They said it was unconstitutional to abolish that. So, some quotes from this case. The Mens Rea Model has the effect of eliminating the concept of wrongfulness from all crimes, in effect changing the criminal intent to be established regardless of the statutory definition of the offense. This would permit an individual to be convicted of a crime where the state failed to prove an element of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt, with a very restrictive model that allows only intent to be negated. And they acknowledge, which is what Dowling v. U.S. is the Supreme Court is very committed to not getting in the business of telling the states that the defense of insanity is a fundamental principle under the Due Process Clause. The state of Nevada, however, says that it is. Of course, the U.S. Supreme Court doesn't have to agree with that at all. Okay, that's Finger v. Nevada. Thank you.